Hello everyone, I'm Kristina Holzweiss and welcome to my session, Time-Saving Tips for School Librarians at the Boston Librarian and Friends Back to School Virtual Professional Development. Before we begin, I'd like you to imagine if you had an hour given to you each day, how would you use this time to make the biggest impact on your students and staff? Now, I know you don't have that extra hour, so let's focus. What is a challenge that you are facing right now? Over the years, I've spoken to many educators, and we have something in common. The number one challenge we have is not enough time. But how is it that we have all the same months, days, weeks, minutes, but some of us get more things done than others? Well, school librarians have particular challenges. We deal with a lot more, I would say, not just teaching and collaborating with teachers, but also with managing resources, with leading, with providing professional development. We also have limited budgets and resources. We have to adapt to changes in curriculum and policies. We have a lot on our plate. These are just some of the challenges that school librarians have told me over the years. So how could your life improve with more time? Many people look at us as school librarians and think, oh, wow, what a pleasure that would be to sit and read all day long. Well, obviously, we are not doing that. It's part of our job to do that, to curate the resources and to read books for our students and recommending books, but we don't sit around reading books all day long, although we wish we could. Think about it. How could your life improve if you had more time? Here is a list of benefits that we would have with more time. We'd be able to improve our productivity, enhance collaboration, efficient use of resources, ability to implement new initiatives, and increase job satisfaction. Many times we need to say no to things for our own self-care. There's just so much we can do in the day. But these are some of the benefits that would improve our lives as well as our library program. So today we're going to talk about some tips to give us more time. So if we all have the same amount of time, it's really more about time management and how we could do things that will free up other time for us, or how we could do things simultaneously to free up more time. So let's see if we can manage our time. So let you in on a little secret. I have difficulties with time management. So what do? I listen to podcasts, I read books, I watch YouTube videos, and I try to find ways to manage my time better so I can get more done. So I'm going to teach you some tricks and tips that have helped me during this session. Some of them may work for you, some of them may not, but these have worked for me. So here we go. So these are some of my favorite time management tips. Definitely prioritize tasks, create a daily schedule, and set realistic goals. If you're like me, you like to do everything, but you really need to think about what's going to be the most effective plan of attack. What is going to feed your soul? What is going to help your library? What is not going to affect your mental health and your self-care to the effect that it is a detriment? So you might have heard of the 80-20 Pareto principle. They say that 20% of what we do has the 80% impact. So think about what you do in your library. What are you working on that gives you the best bang for your buck? Meaning, is it weeding? Is it creating displays? Is it lesson plans? What is your greatest asset? What are you working on? Sometimes we waste time chasing our tails. Sometimes we want to collaborate with teachers, and some teachers just are not open to it, and it's not you personally. Sometimes you just have to focus on the teachers who you are collaborating with. Sometimes you might be working on weeding. Sometimes you're working on inventory. Sometimes you can be working on repair. What is the most noticeable effect in your library? If you're spending all your time on book repair, maybe you need to advocate for more funding so you can get books that are not in disrepair, just for an example. So think about what you could be doing and spending your time wiser. I'm going to talk now about the Pomodoro technique and also the School Library Planner and how that could help you with your time management. So in my reading and in my watching YouTube videos and listening to podcasts, I've learned about the Pomodoro timer technique. So basically, you group things together that you're working on. So let's say you're doing inventory. Maybe you do, again, weeding and book repair at the same time. So as you're doing inventory, you're looking at the books and you're seeing, oh, I can weed these books, or these need repairs and I can use these books. So as you're doing the inventory, it may take you a little bit more time, but at least you're doing 3 things at once and you're putting them in different stacks. Well, the Pomodoro timer effect means that you take this technique, you take a timer, so it could be like the timer on the left, which is a block, and you turn it, and then it stops. Or you can have one that you can actually look at, like this timer. You could use a timer a physical timer like one of these. You can use a timer on your computer, or you can even download an app like the Pomodoro, the app here. What I like about the Pomodoro app is it also cues you to focus and to have self-care time. So you would basically block out maybe 15-20 minutes to do a block of work, and then put the timer on for 5 minutes of self-care. So you're not working 30 minutes through and getting burnt out working on something. You're actually working in chunks of time. So for example, let's say it's your prep time. And you want to work on some reading and you want to collaborate with teachers. So you might put the timer on for 20 minutes and work on one section of your library, not just a whole Dewey section, but maybe focus on one bookcase, maybe 3 shelves. Really make it manageable and realistic. Put the timer on, get the job done, and then when the timer goes off, take your 10-minute break. And let's say you're taking a break, you're getting some steps in, you walk around the school, go down to the main office, get your mail, maybe talk to the secretary about something, maybe talk to the principal, and on the way back, maybe stop in a teacher's room and drop off a book that they had requested. So again, you can chunk your time, but you can get more done in that time with the Pomodoro timer technique. So check it out. Either buy one of these small timers, or you could put it on your watch, or you can put it on an app. Another way is to use just pen and paper. So you can download habit trackers or learning trackers on the internet. They also have them. They have pads of them that you could purchase. These are 2 that are actually available through Book Creator. If you have a Book Creator account and you are able to use the graphic organizers, these are 2 graphic organizers that I created for Book Creator, and they have included them in their library. So in the habit tracker, you can track how many times that you've worked on your weeded collection. You can how many times that how much time you spent ordering books, but you could also add things like drinking water, walking around the school, connecting with teachers. So you could use that in a habit tracker. And the learning tracker you could actually use for your professional development, or you can even give it to their students or what they've learned. So you could take the little check marks and just put them in the chart for the habit tracker or the learning tracker. And again, these are available through Book Creator. One of my favorite ways of saving time is to harness the power of AI. So I love Goblin Tools because it doesn't require users to sign in. So this is perfect for students. And you can also use it for yourself for making to-do lists and breaking down tasks into smaller subtasks. So what you have to do is go to the Goblin Tools and choose the Magic To Do feature, and then type in some kind of topic or task that you want to complete. So I put in planning an interactive hour-long workshop for school librarians about time-saving tips. And you can add your own subcategories and your sub-steps in between, as many as you like. Or you can use the little magic wand over there, and that's the AI. And you can create sub-steps and then sub-sub-steps. And you can create a long to-do list if you like, or make it short and sweet and make it more general. I love the Goblin Tools Magic To Do because it saves me time organizing my thoughts and planning what I'm going to do. Again, I think it's great for students to make to-do lists. You can make research plans. You can talk about a workshop you're going to give, or even professional development, or maybe even type in weeding or circulation or collection development. And then when you're finished, you can just check off the little square, and it puts a line through the task, and you can just download the tasks that you still have left, or you could just make this a running to-do list. So this is a really great tool called Goblin Tools. So if you remember what I said at the beginning of this session, that I am not very good at managing time. So I try to find ways to force me into managing my time wiser. So the school library planner actually came about because I was looking for ways to manage my time and organize myself. And then I put it out there. I asked people, would you be interested in this kind of a planner? Would you like it digital? Would you like it printed? What pages would you like? And over the 3 years that we've printed this planner, it has improved because of user feedback. It is a printed planner. People have asked for that. They've asked for the different pages, and some of the surprises that are in there are some of my own ideas, and some of them were because of user feedback. So that's what I love about it. So you can see that every month you get a monthly spread. You get different holidays on the days. You also get weekly holidays. You get monthly holidays, things for you to remember, and even just like some funny little holidays like Rubber Ducky Day or a game day or things like that. You'll notice throughout the planner that we have little ducks spread around because those are in memory of my sister. So there are 8 little ducks. And this is July. This is my birthday. My birthday is July 15th, and we can see that there are different holidays for each day. This year I have added resources. So each month you have a QR code that you could scan, and you can find a weeklet of resources. There are about maybe 15 to 20 resources for each month. And as I find more resources, I will add that. So it is a dynamic QR code. And then I just add more resources during the year that I find. Now, in the planner, you'll get 2 pages of lined note paper, and then you have these 2 pages. So one has dots. People ask for dots because they want to do some sketchnoting or charts, and they didn't necessarily want lines. And then we have the infographic page. So in this page, you can collect your data each month, and then if you have a meeting with your supervisor or you're making an infographic, or at the end of the year, you want to make an end of the year report, all you need to do is go through the different months and write down your data that you collected during that time. Now, you can use your circulation program if you want to collect data of circulation stats, but this is more anecdotal. So it's what's the usage, it's your professional development, your goals. So it's a little bit more reflective. And this is a really great way during the year to write down, what your goals are and your reflection of how the month went. And then as you prepare for the next school year, you can see what you did that month that you really thought worked well, and what did not work well. You can have time to reflect on it and then change to make improvements for the following year. Now, this is a planner. I wouldn't say it's a plan book because there really is enough room to put in an entire lesson plan. I don't think any planner actually has enough room to do that. So here in the planner, you could see that we have a weekly spread. The weekends are not included. This is just for work. Weekends are included on the monthly spread, so you could write down, those special birthday celebrations or vacations or whatever you're doing on the weekend. But for the week, you'll get the word of the week. Some people use that for morning announcements, or they use it for just prompts for the students. You'll see there's a quote on the bottom, and then at the top there's a win for the week. I really think it's important for us to reflect on what works and what we're doing that's awesome. There's enough time that we can reflect on how we can improve, but I think we need to really pat ourselves on the back, because every day we're doing something great. And at the very top, you see that this time we are redirecting people to look at the tips that are in the back, which I'm going to show you later. So there's a little encouragement. There's just a reminder to read the tips in the back to help librarians improve their library program. Here we see some of the forms that we have in the planner that will save you some time. We have grant writing tips, book requests, reading logs, children's literature awards, needed assessment. There's even a habit tracker in here, like I showed you before. Lots of great forms that will help you. Any librarian from K through 12 can use many of these forms. And I like the fact that when I can carry this around, I can go to faculty meetings. If someone mentions something very quickly, I could put it into the book request form, or the planning a book fair, or curriculum mapping. I don't have to go back to my library. I don't have to go back on the computer. I don't have to write it in my notes, in my phone, and lose it later on. I can carry this to my faculty meetings, and I can quickly jot down notes. They're really great for bringing to department meetings. And I just find the pen and paper, it just works for me much better, because it's the kinesthetic activity of writing something down and checking it off when it's done that really helps me out. You can see that I've tried to save you time. On the tip table of contents, we had a user suggest that the librarian tips that were shared last year and this year, that they be arranged by category. So we have done that. So if you're interested in advocacy or collaboration or promoting reading, you can go straight to the back and to the tips table of contents. Again, we're trying to find new ways to save you time. And then in the back, you'll have tips from librarians from all over the country. You'll see their photograph. You'll see a little description about them, their social media, so you can connect with them. Their book recommendations. So if you're looking for some books to add to your collection or your to be read list, there are some great recommendations. And then their tip. So you have professional development at your fingertips whenever you want. And again, if you like their tip, you can just follow them on social media. So organizing your physical space can also save you time, because you don't have to worry about where things go and where to find them, because you know that you've organized your space. So create different zones in your library. Optimize your furniture layout for accessibility, or purchase furniture that bowls as two different purposes. Flexible seating, displaying books, using vertical space for storage, and efficient storage solutions. So let's look at some of the tips. So here are 3 easy ways that you can save time. First of all, don't you just hate when those books, they spill over into your bookcase and they just flop over and they don't stand up straight? Well, if you have bookends with corkboard underneath, fantastic. And if you don't, if you can purchase it, that's even great. That's great also. But if you don't have the funds and you have all these bookends, what you can do is take some non-slip tape. It's like tape you can find at the hardware store that goes on steps so people don't slip. It's not quite sandpaper. It's not as rough as that, but it is kind of grippy. And I had a very thick roll, and I would cut it in half, and then I just put a small piece right on the bookcase, so the bookend wouldn't slide, and then I didn't use the whole piece, so I could save some money. On the left here, you can see we have some cups that I purchased from IKEA. You can find, any cups anywhere, but I like these cups because they have a little hook on the side, and I put up these little rods in an empty space in my library, some place that wasn't being used, and I put makerspace by items. Again, put your labels, get a nice label maker, color code things, and if you have students who speak different languages in your school, write the items listed in different languages. Whether you can see the items or not, color code anyway if kids have difficulty reading, and put it in different languages, because even if they can see what the items are, they can read it in their own language. They'll know that they're welcome in your library, and they will also know the English word for the item. And over here you can see my circulation counter. For a while I had my own desk and a circulation counter, but eventually I ditched my desk because I wanted to give more floor space to my students. So I ditched my desk, and then I sat at the circulation counter. That was my go-to place. But as you can see here, I took some bar stools I got at a garage sale, and I brought them right to the circulation counter. If there was a whole class coming in and they were taking out books, I removed those bar stools and I put them in another section of the library. But usually on my off periods, or when it was during study hall or lunch, I would put them by my circulation counter so students would feel welcome to sit down and talk to me as I was working. And teachers can come in and they can collaborate with me and they can have a seat. This way they knew they were welcome when they were coming in. So this will save you time because you don't have to go around to a desk. You don't have to find a spot to sit at. You can sit at your desk and make sure that your students feel welcome at the same time. So again, keeping an organized library will save you time because you can tell students, oh, this is where all the items go. Here it's labeled, here it's color-coded. Very simple. As you can see here in these photographs, here are some of the zones I was talking about. On the left-hand side, on the bottom, we have our reading nook, so kids could sit on the couches, they can hang out with each other, and they can read. And on the right-hand side, we see part of a class there working. That was our high table and bar stool area. And here we have a student using a hospital tray. Those are really good to use. Hospital trays are, you can lower them so students can use them with their regular chair. They can use them as stand-up desks, and you can also use them as bar stools. So instead of buying multiple pieces of furniture, buy something that you can transform. Basically, those sit-up and stand-up desks are really great, or even the tables that flip up into room dividers, or dry erase boards. Try to find furniture that you can use for double usage instead of cluttering your library with lots of furniture. And on the top left, you can see our makerspace. So students know exactly where things go. So things are labeled, there are different bookcases, different spots, baskets, boxes. So kids know exactly where things go. So have different zones in your library so you can direct kids to the makerspace, the reading area, the collaborative area, so forth. So labeling my bookcases was a game changer. So I did de-Dewey our fiction section. So we had our fiction section broken up into historical fiction, realistic fiction, sports fiction, fantasy, suspense, things like that. The nonfiction we did not de-Dewey. Because I just felt like the students aren't going to use Dewey in the public library, and they might have used Dewey in the elementary school, so I wanted them to be comfortable with using the Dewey system. But what I did do was I made it very user-friendly. I labeled all of the bookcases by a letter, not a number, because I didn't want them to confuse the number of the bookcase with the Dewey number. So a letter, and also I put the Dewey numbers underneath so they would know. So as you can see here, at the end of bookcases, I put them into like sheet protectors, and then I placed them on the bookcases. So if I had to change them out, it would be fine. I could just take the paper out and put a new one in. And then on the actual bookcases at the top, you could see that one in the middle with the green. I took old magazine holders and I hot glue gunned laminated sheets with the bookcase letter. So the low ones were at the end of the bookcases, and the high ones were on these magazine holders. And so if a student was looking for a book, they would come in, and after a while, I know the popular topics that teachers were working on, and I got the major Dewey numbers that students would be looking at. Not every single Dewey number, but most of the books where they were looking at, I made this list, and then on the back of it, on the reverse, it said exactly which numbers correspond to which bookcase. So I could very easily, when I was alone, use my laser pointer, and when a student said, I am looking for books about immigration, I would direct them to these Dewey sections, and I could tell them exactly which bookcase. And if they were really lost, I could use my laser pointer. And sometimes you can even have lights, these little tap lights that you could put on the bookcase, and you could have different colors with the remote control. So you could even say the section on sports, that is a green light. You could have the section on the 800s. It could be the red light. So you can do that as well. But again, this worked really well. And then when you're working and you have students who are there with you at study hall or lunch, you inevitably have a student coming in looking for a book from a class. The teacher will send them, and then you're trying to manage everything at once. So very simply, these kids can find their books just by using this bookcase system. So if you want to try it out, again, give them the major Dewey numbers and then a corresponding bookcase letter. And inevitably, after you give your orientation to the library lesson at the beginning of the year, you get new entrants. So what you can do is you can create a map like this one. And you can use just basic Google Slides or any other software that you want and create a map. And then you can use Mote, and you can make little audio bites. This one was made on Google Slides. You can make little audio bites, and it could read to the students. And then you can share this out with the teachers. So even students who are brand new to the school, they can still learn about the library. Again, you can email this out. This could be put in a newsletter. It could also be on your library website, on your school website. So students who are new to your school, who have missed your library orientation, can still learn about your library visually and through audio. So there are many ways that you can save time by outsourcing, crowdsourcing, and automating tasks. My number one tip is to involve your students. In my library, I had a group of tech experts and who helped me do everything. So always get students to help you. So let's look at that picture of our students. Yep, these are my tech experts, and here they are at their tech expert table, and they had name tags. They would help in the makerspace. They would help students put things together. They would help students they would recommend books. They would take care of all the wires with all of our Chromebooks. They would let me know if there was any part of the library that needed some sprucing up, any books that were laying around. They would collect them, bring them to me. Those were my tech experts. They were a really great group of kids. And I even brought my tech experts to conferences. When Flipgrid visited us, our tech experts were there to welcome them. And here my tech experts are at a conference, and they're meeting some teachers talking about our program, and they're teaching them a whole bunch of technology. So having a tech expert team in your library is fantastic, because you could also create an ambassador program where the students can turnkey technology in the library and in the classrooms. So when I loaned out our Breakout EDU kits, for example, I had students in the classrooms who could help the teachers. So I had a list of tech experts that I shared with their teachers, so they knew who in their class was proficient or at least well aware of some of the technology and the strategies that we were using. So really great time saving for you and great time saving for your teachers. And again, outsourcing and crowdsourcing. Definitely work with other librarians and work with other teachers. Here are 2 examples: the Digital Librarian Survival Toolkit and the Epic ebook of web tools and apps. Both were crowdsourced during the pandemic. They are digital ebooks that were created on the Book Creator collaborative platform. And again, these are fantastic resources that you can use because they were crowdsourced. I was looking for a way to help my own teachers. But again, I always say the smartest person in the room is the room. And so instead of me just writing a whole bunch of tutorials and recording videos on my own, I just put it out on social media who'd like to join. And we came up with these 2 books, and they have been read all over the country and actually all over the world. Another way you can automate your information is through Canva. So you can use Magic Write, which is like ChatGPT. You can write grant proposals. You can write college recommendations. You can write make lesson plans using Magic Write. And then once you're in Magic Write, you can use the Magic Switch. You can convert your written document to a presentation. You can translate it, and you actually can transform it. So you can take your AI generated information, tweak it, and then make it into an executive summary or a blog post, a marketing video script, a poem, anything you like. So again, this is embedded right in Canva. So you don't need to go to another AI tool. And while you're there, you could also use Magic Media. So let's say you're creating a presentation and you need just that right image. You can go to Magic Media and type in what you like and create either an image, graphic, or a very short video. Another tip I love to use is the bulk create. So you can create certificates and awards for a World Read Aloud Day or any other challenges that you have, and you can even teach your teachers. So all you need to do is upload the Google, download the Google a sheet into a CSV file, upload it, or you could even upload an Excel file, or you could even do them manually, and you can use the bulk create to attach the data to different points in your awards, and you can generate up to, I think, about 350 awards just by pressing one button and uploading your data. And the last tip for using Canva to save you time is to create your your posts on social media. So you can create them on Canva, and then you can connect your social media to Canva and schedule them in advance. So instead of creating something and downloading it and then posting it separately, you can just create in Canva, use the scheduler, and connect your social media, and then you can just share on social media in advance by using the schedule. So I just love Canva for automating and for making my life easier. Many of us don't have time to collaborate with teachers because our free time just does not coincide with their prep time. So now that we've gotten used to collaborating during the pandemic, creating a Google Drive or a Google Classroom together is so easy. So maybe you could consider making a Google Classroom. If you use Canvas, you can ask your teachers if you could be a co-teacher in those classes with them. This way, you can share the information literacy skills that they need, and you can see what they're doing in their Google Classroom. Canvas is also very good for that. You can help the teachers create resources, maybe make a module in their class that they're doing some research on. But again, ask the teachers if you can be part of their learning management system. You can also create your own Google Classroom or your own Canvas where the students are not graded. If you're middle school or high school, or you can grade them in elementary school if you need to give grades. But you can also make it that they can just read only. So it serves almost like a website where you can update information. You can also create a digital badging system where you can create modules and micro-credentials that students can use. So definitely get on board with your school's learning management system, whether it's Google Classroom, Canvas, or even Seesaw for the littles. Here is a template through Book Creator. If you go on their website, you can see it's a library handbook. So whenever you can go you use Book Creator, or even if you're using Flip with Microsoft Teams or Padlet, always become a co-teacher. And then you could help your teachers. So this is actually a template. You can create your own library handbook, and you could remix it. So anytime you can make a template, whether it's Book Creator, whether it's Padlet, whether it's Canva, and co-teach with your teachers, it will lessen the load. You can help your teachers, whether they're in the library or not, and they can get the benefit of your expertise, and your students can get those information literacy skills that they might not be able to get in the class. If they didn't come to the library, they can get it from you virtually. The library track product actually is a really great time saver for me. In our library, we use the calendar feature. So we have different parts of the library that we can sign out to teachers and to students. We have an innovation lab, we have a tax center, which is professional development, we have our pilot classroom, and we have the library itself. So we can actually schedule our lessons, and we know who's in which parts of the library, whether we're working with them or where they're just borrowing the space. I did notice that Library Track has a collaborate feature, so you can actually communicate with teachers if they're doing any projects, and then you can find out, when they're doing their project and what resources that they need from you. So I've never used a collaborate feature, but I think this is something I might look into. Another thing that I like to do is I will email teachers, but I will schedule the emails. So if I know right now, I scheduled some emails at the end of the school year in June that will come out in September, that they will be released. I schedule them through Outlook. And so as soon as something's in my head, I will write it down. I will write it as an email, and I will schedule it for the future. And this way I don't need to write it down. I don't need to remember to do it. It's already scheduled out when it's in my mind. So scheduling emails in advance is a fantastic idea. It is such a time saver. Lastly, professional development is a great time saver because you can learn so much in going to listening to a webinar, or listening to a podcast, or watching a webinar, or going to a session or a workshop, because the presenters have gone through all the challenges that they face creating whatever program that they're talking about. They have already they've managed to get all the information that they can within that hour slot. Even if you go to poster sessions, again, everything is already made for you. They've already gone through all the work. When you look at the resources later, I love to do that. I will register for webinars, and even if I can't make it, I will look at the resources later on. I'll watch the webinar later on, and even virtual conferences. I love getting resources from people. It really saves me time. So connecting with people on social media, putting questions out there when you need help, really a great time saver. And so just like this conference right now that Casey Boyd has put together for us, even if you can't get the time from your library, you can watch this on your own time. There's nothing like the vibe that you get from a conference when you see people that you know and that you've met through social media, or even just the feeling that you get at a conference. It can't be replicated virtually, but these are some ways that we can develop as technology leaders, as thought leaders, as leaders in literacy, that, mostly in our districts, sometimes they just don't provide the professional development that we need. We may work in very small districts, or districts who don't have the funding to have professional development. Finding professional development on your own, like this conference, is really integral to you becoming a library leader. So just want to remind you here, I've run Egg Camp Cardigan Camp. That's every year around in the fall, and that's a 24-hour virtual conference. We try to make it, starts at midnight and ends at midnight. We just had our Egg Camp AIVRAR. And we are going to have our International Summer Virtual Showcase for Canva librarians and teachers, and that will be on August 3rd. These resources are available to you, and you can just sign up for them, register for them, get the links to the videos in advance, and then afterwards you can review and revisit the resources, and then you can download a certificate of participation. So again, seek out these professional learning opportunities because they will help you save time, because you will learn about the latest trends and the latest ideas in the school library world. So again, you now have saved time. You have a multitude of ways that you can save time through digital sources, through just prioritizing, through the planner, different ways that you can save time. Now you have to think, how will you make use of your time to make the biggest impact? You have saved some time. What are you going to do? What new initiatives are you going to begin? What new projects do you want to start? Because you've saved the time that you need. Don't forget, you're going to be able to win perhaps a Demco School Library Planner. Demco has generously provided some planners to raffle off, so you might be a lucky winner of a Demco School Library Planner. And please join our Facebook group. I'd love to hear your feedback. This planner is basically crowdsourced ideas from users all over the country, and we just keep making it better and better because the smartest person in the room, like I said, is the room. So thank you everyone for this time-saving tips session, and please connect with me on social media, join one of our Facebook groups, and I hope you have a great school year.